It has been a big week for ARM, AI, and also Xbox IP. Happy Friday, friends! It's Friday. It's Friday. You know the deal. We are deep into the heart of Techtember, and by Techtember, I mean 5 days deep, but it has been IFA, there's Apple events, there's all sorts of stuff going on, and as I said last week, there's a lot happening this week, which means there is no time to waste, so I hope that you had a wonderful week. Let's dive into the tech news. The first thing is that the UK CMA has okayed Microsoft's hiring of the Inflection team, but it's no longer like a hire. They're definitely calling this one a merger. It doesn't matter. Microsoft is free and clear, and so that is going through. On the hardware side, which there is plenty this week. So Microsoft announced the Surface Pro 11 and Surface Laptop 7, a business edition, or bit for business customers, I should say. And so these are going to start shipping September 10th for the Wi-Fi version, and 5G models will come on September 26th. And then a 5G version of the Surface Pro 11 for consumers is also coming later this fall. And as a reminder, the Intel Surface Pro 10 for business edition will also soon be available with 5G. Now, I haven't heard anything else yet if there's going to be any more Surface events this fall, but we will hold on and see. But there has been a ton of this Copilot AI stuff, and that is clearly taking precedence along with ARM. This is, you'll see through the rest of this podcast, it really feels like finally, for the really serious, and I definitely mean this for the real time, like the ARM movement for Windows is here, because everybody's buying in, everybody's shipping stuff. Stardock, my company, we're shipping ARM apps. Microsoft is shipping ARM for PCs for businesses now under the Surface umbrella. And let's just keep going here, because Qualcomm has launched the Snapdragon X Plus. This is that lower end chipset that we got leaked last week. And so there's effectively two models. There's an 8-core and a 10-core option. They're on the CPU side, it's like 600 megahertz less perf. But the same NPU, and that is notable because that keeps that AI PC qualification in check. The GPU is also quite a bit slower, actually, I should say, especially on the 8-core model. And it looks like there might be a typo in the chart, because it calls this thing the Adreno the CPU, and isn't it a GPU? I could be wrong. But anyways, there are two new lower end, and it really just feels like the bidding sort of thing, right? They're just hacking off 2 cores, and that's fine. That's an industry thing that happens. And so, yeah, you're definitely going to start to see lower end stuff. The other interesting thing is, while on stage, the CEO of Qualcomm mentioned the word desktop, and then he kind of backtracked a little bit, but he definitely mentioned desktop. And so I think a lot of us are wondering, it's hey, when is an ARM chip going to show up in a Mac Mini competitor? And it kind of sounded like he wanted to say that sort of thing, but he couldn't and didn't. So yeah, but it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, every major vendor has announced an AI powered ARM device at this event. They're all going in and they're all building this stuff, and it definitely feels like, hey, this is finally going to be a thing, which is honestly just kind of wonderful at the end of the day, because hey, that's good. We're waiting on this, because Intel, not to be left out of the conversation, also announced their Lunar Lake stuff. And so there's a new Core Ultra 200V series mobile CPUs. They're going to be showing up in about 80 different devices this year, and they will all have the AI features that were previously locked to Qualcomm exclusivity for only a couple months, really, right? Since June? Anyways, AMD and everybody else will be able to get their dirty little mitts on this AI stuff with 24H2, which will be coming in October. However, it doesn't still seem like it's coming with Recall, right? Recall sounds like it's going to be shipping to insiders only potentially in October, but I guess technically you can get it. But yeah, either way. And the one thing to keep in mind here with all this ARM stuff happening, the biggest loser with ARM is going to be Intel. Intel has the lion's share of the market share, and especially in the mobile space for laptops. And ARM, basically any percent they can gain is probably coming at the expense of Intel. Intel's not going anywhere. Intel will continue to sink its claws into the market as it has always done, even though they've got some definite struggles, actually. You can't ignore that they've had some struggles. I mean, their 18A process, which is supposed to be coming online, the rumors are reporting, the rumors, I think it's Reuters actually, not the rumors, said, hey, all their Broadcom chips that come with the line didn't meet spec. And so this stuff is not ready. And I believe they also canceled some other things along the way for their 20A. manufacturing process was also canceled during all of this. So yeah. Anyway, so Intel Lunar Lake looks good, but again, we're not gonna until it's in independent hands, getting some benchmarks. Even that, like the Intel stuff seemed fine during benchmarks, and then all of a sudden we had this like overvoltage issue. So, anyways, I hope that it's good for Intel. I hope that their stuff is good and solid and rock, and it creates a great market. Because at the end of the day, you guys, the winner, especially if you're looking at the video version of this, is you. The winner is you right now in the Windows space. Like, there's a bit of a Windows renaissance going on right now because you have Intel and you have Qualcomm and you also have AMD. These guys are all, and gals or whatever you want to call them, are all making chips. AI, nobody has a clear dominant winner with the NPU stuff. Yeah, Nvidia's doing great things, but like on this on-chip stuff, especially in the Windows space, like it's still up for grabs. Nobody's a clear runaway winner by any margin. And so with the rumors that Nvidia is going to be a player next year, at this time next year, in less than a year, it could be even less than that. It could be just January 1st. Who really knows? It's there could be 4 options to power your Windows device, and that is killer. That is like gauntlet style juggernaut battle of the perf and the battery life, and like a real opportunity for consumer devices to like take a generational step forward, because these companies are going to be fighting it out. Intel up in the corner, in the blue corner, is going to be fighting for their lives. Qualcomm and AMD and if Nvidia entrants are all trying to grab some of that 70% plus share that Intel holds right now. And like, if that doesn't get you excited about like Windows and like what's going to be happening and some of the performance things and AI stuff, and AI with a caveat, I don't know what else kill. I really don't know what else could at the end of the day. It's super exciting. I think there's a lot to be excited about in the world of Windows. If you're new to the channel, I love Windows. I've always liked Windows, and it feels like we're like in an inflection point right now. And so we'll see. Like the big thing that's missing, and you really could have seen how this could have played out, is like if a Windows 12 was what this 24H2 was called. It's like, hey, all these ARM AI PCs, they're Windows 12, but we're not. They're all Windows 11 24H2. So yeah, it is what it is. But either way, like I look at this stuff and look at all these big billion or $1 trillion companies, I should probably say. And are they trillion? They're at least $1 billion companies, right? Fighting for your dollars in PCs, not in anything else, but in consumer PCs, are fighting for your dollars. And if that doesn't make you happy, this definitely will not make you happy, is that Microsoft 365 Copilot Wave 2 is going to be coming. There's going to be an event here. I think it's September 16th, something like that. Anyways, they're going to unveil the next wave of features for Microsoft 365 Copilot, and it sounds like, according to The Verge, that they're going to rebrand some of their Copilot stuff in the most Microsoft way possible. So it won't be using Copilot in Word, it'll be using Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word. And yikes, that is the most Microsoft thing way ever to name stuff. But it is what Microsoft likes to do, my friends, and that is that. Yep. So on to the gaming news, because there's definitely a lot here. Minecraft movie. If you've ever thought Minecraft should have a movie, yeah, I don't know. Everybody can go watch the trailer. I think it's either going to be hilarious and wonderful, or it's going to be like a complete flop. So Jack Black is in it. So at least there's some named characters or named actors that you'll recognize. We'll see. These spin-off from games to movie pipeline is a little wonky at some point, but yeah, it's coming. It's coming next year. Also, things that are going to be coming are the Acer Nitrous Blaze 7. So this is another handheld entrant into the gaming market with a 7-inch Full HD 1920 by 1080 IPS, 144 refresh rate display. I think it's got up to 2 terabytes of storage. It's powered by AMD Ryzen. Unfortunately, no pricing revealed at this time, but there's definitely, talking about renaissance in the desktop PC space, like the handheld PC space, there's definitely things ever since the Steam Deck sort of kicked off that market. Windows and Xbox-ish are trying. And so again, with another entrance into the handheld market, I once again raised the question of, should there be a handheld Xbox? I don't know. I don't know what it would do better than this, other than the OS. So that's where Microsoft could make it shine, but I don't know. Is that worth taking the risk of building your own dedicated hardware when you could just slap this OS on these things that exist and be a little bit better off? We will see. We will see. Now, Sony has reportedly secured exclusive marketing rights for GTA 6. Remember, they used to do that with Black Ops. Well, now they're doing it with GTA 6. Not all that surprising. They've clearly had some extra money to spend since they can't give it to Activision, and there you go. Concord is dead. It's going offline, and actually, credit to Sony. They're giving refunds to everybody, all probably 3,000 people who bought it. The big question in my mind is like, what's going to happen? Is this going to be a write-off where they just write the assets off, which means they're never being used again? Or is what a lot of people think, and it seems plausible, this game will come back at some point as a free-to-play? I don't know. If it were to launch free-to-play, that might have made more sense, but I think this space is just so crowded that, first off, charging up front for it was a risky and bold maneuver, and obviously it just didn't play out. So we will see. Other interesting things coming from Camp Sony is Sony's CEO in an interview with the Financial Times says Sony doesn't have enough original IP. Things Xbox won't save for 1,000. Alex, because we all know why Microsoft would not be saying that, but there you go. At least Sony's looking to lock up some more original IP at the end of the day. Which I don't know if that means they're going to buy more companies, because the way things went with Destiny didn't go probably as well as planned. But we will see. Speaking of Destiny, Xbox Phil Spencer said, hey, we actually could have had Destiny as an exclusive, but they passed on it. Now, that's like, hindsight is like, obviously 2020 here, but it's hard, right? Here's the thing. Xbox is trying to lock this stuff up at exclusives or whatever else. They come to you, they make the pitch and say, this is what we're going to launch. And they're like, it's going to come here anyway, so whatever. We don't think it's right for us. Obviously, that was a big miss. That would have been a huge exclusive for Xbox. But at the end of the day, all the chips are on the table. When you get a pitch, you got to make choices. And this is one that they just kind of missed on. But at the end of the day, like, did it change the course of Xbox forever? No, because you can still play Destiny on Xbox. And finally, Xbox is still mad at Apple. I should say Microsoft is, because Microsoft says native Xbox cloud gaming remains impossible on Apple devices, and this is because of their crazy in quotations here, 30% fee that is still being applied, and that they're still fighting all of this out in the courts in the EU, and so look for those things to change. So let's move on to my favorite part of the week, which everybody knows are the questions. Greg says, hey Brad, I was thinking about trying to get some of these new Surface devices for my business. What is your take on if I should deploy ARM to employees? So Greg, I candidly do not have enough information. I think the reality here is, hey, definitely you're in IT, clearly, if you're buying these things to deploy, I would assume, or you own the company one way or another. Start small, think small. It would be, I think, the logical approach here. Give it to, just play with it for a bit. Find out what the limitations are, and really you will know what your users need better than I do. But if they're like primarily in a browser and like Word and Excel, yeah, they're probably fine. I think the real question becomes is like, what's the battery life like in real world scenarios? And at the end of the day, do your employees need a laptop, right? A lot of people don't need laptops. They're easy to deploy, obviously, but desktop still kind of reigns supreme a lot in the enterprise space. And so that one's up to you. I'll tell you what, though, definitely let us know how it works out, because you got options, like, right? It's just cool that at this point you can be like, genuinely go grab an ARM device. You'll probably be fine. Gaming, yeah, but you're in an enterprise space. Gaming doesn't matter. So the battery life should be pretty darn good, and everything else is mostly there. However, these ARM devices, someone's going to write in the comments, but Brad, they are far from perfect. I can't run XYZ application. You are exactly right. It is far from perfect, but I'll tell you what, it is the best it has ever been, and it's not even close. Like, they've really taken some significant leaps with this generation, not only in terms of the underlying hardware, finally, but the OS has had many, 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 many years and is now polished pretty darn well at the end of the day, and all of the big apps are really starting to show up, and so yeah, I think you'll be okay. The Joe Finn dropping a double dose of questions. He says, I wouldn't buy an Xbox handheld that just played Xbox games. However, if it could enter PC mode and play games from Steam, Origin, and Epic, I would definitely buy one. How feasible is it for all these companies to give a thumbs up, or is it just a PC they need to? I mean, let me ask you this question. If it's just running Windows, wouldn't that make sense then? If it was just running, I mean, Xbox is technically running Windows, but if it's just running Windows, then yeah, you can install, or you should be able to do all this. I think what's missing, and maybe what the Joe Finn is hinting at, is the integration, right? When you're working on a 7-inch screen to like use Windows as it is, like it's not designed for that. We actually, one of the things, interestingly enough, Stardock gets asked a lot is like, build a UI thing for handhelds to be able to do all this and navigate stuff. It's like, we definitely could. Like that, could we? Yes. However, we expect that Microsoft is going to do something here, and tying into all of this would be a lofty effort, not insurmountable, but being in the business of competing against Microsoft is just really challenging. So we expect that they will do something like this to make these handhelds viable. And when they do, then any product we would launch would be tough, because at the end of the day, is anybody going to pay $29 for a launcher on a handheld mobile? Probably not. I mean, there might be a few people, but it's like, yeah, it's a risk and reward sort of thing. His second question, it says, if you could wave a magic AI wand and make a tedious task to be automated and still done well, what would it be? It would be to filter out the junk of my email. Like, give me the Microsoft Copilot, the Google Gemini, the whatever Oracle is what they call their AI stuff. I can't think of it. Salesforce, I don't care. Give me a plugin that connects to my inbox and says, this is junk, this is spam, this is whatever, and do it well. Just do it well. The filtered inbox that is there, like the non-important items, like it never works. And it's like, just give me, you could write a simple script probably. It says, look, if it's not in English, just get it out of my inbox. Just kumbaya. If it's using a link that looks like phishing, just get it out of my inbox. If it's an email from Microsoft in the subject line, but the email address ends in .ru, get it out of my inbox. Like that would be it. That is, I think I know where the Joe Finn might be going with some of this. It's like, what other automated tasks could it be? I don't know. Because if, at this point, like even setting up this podcast, I have it down to like 2 buttons on my little Stream Deck here. And so like those repetitive tasks to open apps and get them framed up correctly are all done on here, like just flipping between things, like it's all set up. So from that perspective, I've already automated things. I didn't need AI to do that sort of stuff. Stream Deck does that quite well. And then when it's on my PC, like things like replying to emails, yeah, it's kind of there, but even that stuff, like the automated replies from AI, are just like it feels like they're being written by an intern on his second day at the office, if that makes sense. Like technically it all makes sense and it's logical, but like it's not what you need, sort of thing. It's close, but no cigar. Waldo29 says, hey Brad, when is Game Pass going to add more titles on PC? It feels like most of the time it's just on the console, but the PC is always a second-class citizen. Well, I think that's potentially by design, possibly. First off, there's a different tier for PC, so it monetizes slightly differently. But it's a lot easier, I think, for Microsoft on the console side to go to a vendor and be like, hey, you know that game you launched that only is not getting a lot of exposure? It's only got like 29 people, and we're not talking Concord. We're talking about another game. Whatever. We can throw it in Game Pass, get you some exposure, and boost you on up. On the PC side, it's a bit different, because when you launch a PC game these days, like you're launching on Steam, and Steam is like the de facto place. And so Microsoft can't just grab a title from Steam and be like, Steam, that's a Game Pass game now. Like it doesn't necessarily work exactly like that. There's other stuff going on. So I think that's probably why it's just easier for Microsoft to do this stuff with things that are on console. Mr. PKI dropping also a double dose. It's double dose from Joe and Mr. PKI. It says, what do you think? Oh, great question. What do you think of the Call of Duty 6 beta so far? And do you really need to buy the $30 Vault Pack to be competitive at all levels? First off, you definitely don't need the Vault Pack. I'm not buying that. So initially the Call of Duty 6 beta has a different movement they call omnidirection, and it's fast and fluid. If you remember that slogan from IE days or something like that. It's different. It's taken me some time to get used to it. I don't want to say I'm a geriatric gamer by any means, but it's definitely, there's some things in there. It's like the youths will make a lot of annoying maneuvers out of this that I will never master the way that they do, where they can run, jump, turn around midair, no scope snipe you with a single shot. And it's a legit, like it's when I get humbled and know that I'm not in the top 1% of Call of Duty players, despite playing a lot. So I think it's fine. It's a safe update. They didn't take any crazy steps with it. We'll see if the diving, turning thing sticks around for another generation. I'll be curious to see how it plays in Warzone. But anyways, that is part of Game Pass. So if you're playing Game Pass on console, I think PC too, you can play the beta. It's going to be available this weekend as well. Then, last question from Mr. PKI for the week. He says, I saw in the Wall Street Journal that Copilot PCs cannot play Fortnite. Does this mean that these laptops will be a bad choice for kids? Interesting questions, potentially. But really, it's a good question. Generally speaking, if you want to play games, like this ARM stuff is not for you. It's not there yet. It's not even, I don't want to say it's not even close, but like it's like if you're choosing and you have an explicit choice, you're at Best Buy and you're like, okay, should I buy an Intel one with a good GPU or an ARM chip with the Arduino or whatever it is, GPU from Qualcomm? Pick the Intel, because if you think gaming's important to you, like that's the better choice. So yeah, there's some challenges still from Microsoft's side on educating the market on Copilot PCs, because they want them to be all end all solution. They want the AI stuff, but at the end of the day, Intel's still got the market share, held in their hand, because games running on ARM are not quite a thing yet. I shouldn't say not a thing yet. Like, it does work. It's just not as good. It's like saying, do I want pie or do I want cherry pie? It's like, well, you get the cherry pie because you get extra cherries. And even if you don't like the cherries, you just scrape them off and you still got pie. So it's a weird analogy. But it does kind of make me wonder about those questions about, is the next Xbox console going to ARM? Which we'll have some more thoughts about that in the near future. So there you go. There has been a gnat or a mosquito flying around this studio while I've been trying to record this. Is that time of the year where it's, few of them are making themselves inside. I don't know exactly where they're coming from yet. As always, my friends, make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this podcast is me.